Becoming a college lacrosse defender is simple. Just copy exactly what Ajax Zappitello does. This guy is a machine. Perfect fundamentals, perfect stick skills, and leads the league with 17 caused turnovers. He's proof it's not about flashy plays or freak genetics. It's about learning a couple key principles. In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 biggest secrets to Ajax's game. His strict stance that wins matchups before they even start, his pick strategy that makes him impossible to dodge on, and in the last clip, his simple trick that any defender can apply no matter their skill to get 1 to 2 more caused turnovers a game. Take these tactics and use them in your next game and watch your defense transform instantly. Here Zappitello shows the pick strategy that the best players in the world use. Zappitello starts in the back corner with a pick to his left. Once he sees McAdory move downhill, he has to make a decision to either go under or over this pick. Since McAdory isn't a direct threat, Zappitello chooses to go under. He does 2 things to navigate the pick that every defender needs to know. First, he shifts from the shuffle into a deep drop step. He wants to move backwards to get under the pick and stay with McAdory. Second, he brings his stick up and vertical to get through the pick without getting hung up. Without this vertical stick position, Zappitello would lose a couple steps purely because his stick would get hung up. After navigating the pick, they're put into a foot race with Zappitello having the angle advantage through the crease. As they round the cage, McAdory brings his hands up to feed the backside. Seeing that, Zappitello goes for the last second poke check. Even though it made a little contact, it still derailed the pass. Attackmen have a false sense of security at the end of their dodge, making them vulnerable. That makes last second pokes like this so effective at disrupting passes. Here Zappitello shows why ugly defense wins games. Look at Zappitello's practically perfect stance to start this coverage. He's sitting back in a low eye position with his chest up and stick out. His inside shoulder is splitting Campbell's body, giving him a balance of denying the top side and forcing the alley. Along with his top foot being slightly upfield, he's in a good position to drop step and send his man down the alley. As Campbell splits down the alley, watch how Zappitello drives off his outside foot to propel himself. The power and speed of this breaking point step is the mark of what a good defender is. Think of it like a track runner's first step off the block. You want to optimize it for the same way as a lacrosse defender. But Campbell's fast and takes this wider dodging angle away from the cage with the intent to curl back in. This gets him a step ahead, but Zappitello understands the concept of constant pressure. By wedging his stick into Campbell's hands as they move down the alley, he loses any ability to shoot or pass, getting in the takeaway. Yes, it doesn't look pretty, but it gives him enough time for the slide to come out and help. So as a defender, you need to apply constant pressure and understand that every coverage won't look perfect. But there's no pictures on the scoreboard, and Zappitello is leading the league in caused turnovers with plays exactly like this. The problem is most players waste time on flashy drills that look good on Instagram but don't win you a roster spot. The top 1% of recruits know this. That's why they spend thousands of dollars on private trainers just to get access to the real drills, the one that actually gets results. I built the G League defense blueprint to cut all that noise out. It's a simple weekly training plan stacked with the same college level drills that Ajax's game is built on. And here's the truth, it's not flashy, it's repetitive, and some days it'll even feel too simple. That's exactly why it works. It rewires your game until the right play becomes automatic. It's trusted by players already committed to Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, Virginia, and more top schools. If you're ready to train like them, click the link in the description, choose your position, and start your blueprint today. Here Zappitello shows the most underrated skill in defenders. Holtman hits a shot off the pipe and lands right at Zappitello's feet where he snags the ground ball. In this position, he does a couple of things, but I want you to pay attention to the exit. In an exit, the only thing to think about is finding the open space. If Zappitello pushed upfield, he would get swarmed by the attackman up top. Instead, he could plant the ball in the crease for the goalie, which is effective but risky. The best option, though, is usually exiting to the corner. That's where the open space is, and attackmen rarely ride there. From the corner, you can gain vision of the whole field and your teammates. So whenever you scoop up a ground ball, plan your exit. This is why stance is 90% of a defender's success. Zappitello starts his coverage in a dead square stance against Kavanaugh. This position is threatening to Kavanaugh because it forces him to choose a direction far away from the cage. Every coach says to put your stick out in front, but here's why it's actually important. First, Kavanaugh is forced to dodge nearly 5 yards away from Zappitello. This gives him a buffer to react to the initial move. Second, the extended stick prevents Kavanaugh from dodging downhill. He has to avoid it, so his dodging angle is insanely wide, forcing him closer to the sideline than the actual goal. When Kavanaugh finally gets a step on Zappitello, he's nearly 10 yards wide of the cage, all because of Zappitello's initial stance. So even though Zappitello ends up in this awkward V-hold, Kavanaugh has 0 options because his angle got eaten up at the start of the dodge. Here's the hidden stat that the best defenders in the world dominate. If you watch Zappitello play in any game, you'll always see him in a ready stance when a shooter is winding up. He knows if he can win the chase, that's just as good as a flashy turnover. So every shot, he's sprinting and diving at the end line to get a possession. The thing is, this takes zero skills. It's literally just how much you're willing to hustle and lay out. The best part is college coaches love to see this kind of stuff on film. It shows you're willing to work and make hard plays. If you struggle with team defense, this clip will fix that. Slides can get confusing. I want you to think about team defense as a game of priorities. This Maryland defender slides, leaving the defense in a disadvantaged position, with Zappitello guarding 2 players on the backside. So in this position, Henningberg and Manny are the 2 biggest threats, being closest to the cage. That's why Mazur checks down from up top to cover Manny. That leaves Zappitello in the crease, waiting for the slide to come back up and free him. Right as he gets freed by the D-mid, he sprints all the way up to Campbell to disrupt the shot. The key here is how every player in the field understood who was the highest priority and who was the biggest threat. Someone will always be open after a slide. You just want it to be the least threatening player. Here Zappitello shows the hedging strategy to get more cause turnovers. Campbell dodges down the alley with Manny on the inside. This makes Zappitello the hot slide. To make matters more difficult, Manny pops up as Zappitello is preparing the slide. This off-ball motion is super common at the highest levels, but the key is how Zappitello plays it. By leaning in, making it look like he'll hedge, and even taking a small step, he becomes a threat but still has his positioning. So when Campbell throws back to Zappitello, he's still in range to snap back to Manny. To top it off, he throws a simple poke check into Manny's hands to get the takeaway. At the highest levels, this is what 90% of takeaways look like, just simple, opportunistic plays. This is how you can win a matchup without even throwing a single check. Zappitello is lined up against Kavanaugh with a pick to his right. Notice how Zappitello almost ignores Kavanaugh, and all of his attention is on navigating this pick. He knows if he gets tripped up here, he'll lose the entire coverage, so his top priority is drop stepping and getting under that pick. This doubles and gives him space and time to react. Now they navigated the pick, Kavanaugh squares up for a one-on-one. Notice how differently Zappitello treats this redodge. Now he's in a low stance with all of his focus on Kavanaugh. Instead of backpedaling, Zappitello starts by breaking downfield nearly horizontally. This is because he doesn't want to give Kavanaugh any space to shoot. All of this practically disarms Kavanaugh and forces him to dodge side to side instead of at the cage. Sometimes defense is about diffusing the attackman's weapons. Every time you navigate a pick, stick with them on a hard dodge and force them away from the cage, you gain those mental points and confidence over your matchup. Here's the zero risk way to gain more cause turnovers a game. Zappitello is playing Kavanaugh as this midi knifes into the middle of the field. Zappitello can collapse in on the double and get the turnover, but the point of this clip is why Zappitello did. You shouldn't just go and recklessly double, but look at the situation again. Since Kavanaugh's far out and not a threat, there's almost no reason to not double the ball. This is how you should think about it. The lower percentage threat your man is, the more you should double the ball. Here Zappitello shows the sliding strategy only the best players in the world use. Zappitello is guarding Barkasell in the crease as McAdory gets a step on his dodge. The first key is the total commitment on the slide. It tells the on-ball defender and the whole defense your intention with 0 second guesses. The second key is how Zappitello takes an angle through the crease to catch up with McAdory and cuts back through the crease on the rollback. But the part of this coverage every defender needs to study is this last second attempt to pick off the pass. Getting your stick in the lane with a jab like this is practically zero risk with huge upside. Even if you don't pick it off, it changes the way Dodgers pass and will discourage them from throwing risky passes in the future. These little details are what make players like Ajax Zappitello the best in the world. The problem, most players don't know these details, and worse, they don't know how to actually train them. Instead, they waste hours on ladders and random cone drills, hoping something clicks. That's why I built the G League Defense Blueprint. It's a weekly training plan built on the exact drills college and pro defenders use, the same foundations behind players like Ajax Zappitello. No fluff, no wasted reps, just the skills that actually win matchups. Now picture this, you walk into tryouts as the fastest player in the field. Coaches are pulling you aside mid-practice to ask how you leveled up so fast. You're checking your phone on September 1st and seeing offers from schools you dreamed of since day one. That's exactly what Blueprint players committed to Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, and Virginia experienced, and it's what it can do for you. Click the link in the description, choose your position, and start your Blueprint today. Step on the field this season as a defender coaches can't ignore.